Okay. Okay, good morning. If you are here with me, I'm just going to spend some few hours to explain how to export food produce, agricultural produce out of Nigeria. Okay, if you are joining me for the first time, I'm using Entrepreneur Youth Cooperative and I'm using FarmVilla, so you can be watching me from any of the groups. You are seeing it, ba? You can be watching me from any of the group. So this morning we'll be discussing how to export farm produce outside Nigeria. Sure, I know everybody wants to earn dollar. Before I go in further there, let me explain, especially for people on Entrepreneur Youth. Entrepreneur Youth Cooperative was created purposely to reduce the effect of unemployment in Nigeria through agriculture. That was the main purpose of creation in 2012. Along the line, it's derailed, it's come back, it's derailed. But we've been doing agriculture for a very long time, and I've not been on that network so many times. I've not been posting things, but we are back now. And once in a while, we'll be coming to give live videos, live trainings on agricultural produce right here. Now, let's say something. About 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I'm thinking it's 2017 or 2018, the Nigerian government was trying to export produce they were trying to export yam out of Nigeria. You know, I remember that day, the first day I saw it, they packed the yams in a carton, and then Audu Ogbe was the commissioner for Agric, and the comment I made then is, oh, one is gone, one of the network is gone. So, and the comment I made then is that, so this morning, Oga, wow, okay. So, okay, our network, people are changing. Entrepreneur Youth is not showing, FarmVilla is showing. Now you see why I'm using two lines. Okay, there's no. Okay, it's back. The two are back. Good. Okay, so like I said, we'll be discussing on how to export produce out of Nigeria. 2 or 3 years ago, 2017, when when the Minister of Agric, was Audu Ogbe, they tried to export yam to Europe. And the moment I saw that yam, I said, this is going nowhere. Yeah, good morning, ma. I said, this is going nowhere, and there might be possibly, but people don't believe. There was even a quarrel on my timeline there when I said this is going nowhere, because one, there are things, there are rules, there are instructions, there are things you need to follow if you actually really want to export out of Nigeria. See, I always tell people, in Nigeria, we can eat poison, we can eat anything that is produced, but outside the country, they check their food, they are concerned about their health system, so you can't just get anything out there. Now, extremely brief, I'm going to, okay, the network might be an issue. To be extremely brief, I'm going to just go straight to the point, because some of the networks are not really performing well, but to some extent. Okay, so now there are 3 methods of exporting food produce out of Nigeria. 3 simple methods. 3 simple methods. Now I'm going to mention the methods. The first method is individual. I want to export individually. I want to do my things alone. I don't want anybody to bother me or whatever. So what you need to do if you're exporting individually outside the country is, 1, if you're exporting individually out of the country, what you need to do is, if you're exporting individually outside the country, what you need to do is, 1, you need to have somebody that is outside the country that will be collecting the produce from you. Sorry, my networks are fluctuating, but okay, I'm using 2 networks, so I'm recording. Okay, so the first thing, you need to know somebody outside the country that will be collecting it from you. There's something called African market. For people that are staying outside the country, there's some place called African market. In African market, In African market, you can sell anything Nigeria. You can sell anything Africa. You can sell anything Africa without having much issues. So in those African markets, when somebody is there for you, you send the produce and somebody collects from you. Actually, what you just need to do is, okay, what do you need, what do you want? Or your contact outside the country can go there to go and research the market for you. Once you finish researching the market for you, then you are able to sell whatever you want to sell. But for the other, that's for the first group. You need to know somebody out there. You need to have a contact that will be collecting whatever you are sending. That's why you see people sending egusi, ground pepper, and all this stuff. That's how they could send it out, because they have a contact that is collecting from them that will send for them. But now, if you are not using, now the disadvantage with that method is that it has to be somebody you trust, somebody that you are sure will deliver your money to you, because somebody that you are sure will deliver your money to you, as at the right body that will deliver for you. The second method, the disadvantage with this first method is that, yes, you do it alone. You can send things in small batches. You can send you can send dry pepper, you can send anything you want to send, provided you have somebody demanding for it. But the disadvantage here is your money, the person that will collect your money for you. I know some a couple about 6 years ago, Berlin group, they supply to Europe. They send gari, they send ugu and some other things to African markets in Europe. Fine. Now the second method is the cluster group. Now, if you can Google KK Fresh in Uganda, KK Fresh Export. For the cluster group, it means you have somebody, you work in a group. There's a program called Fruit Logistica that holds in Berlin every year. In Fruit Logistica, when the program is holding, you go there. It's all in February. It's the 3 days of this program. So you go there to Fruit Berlin. You go there every year. You go there once. Check there to get your customer for the produce you want to produce. Like for the produce they buy there, atarodo, which is habanero atarodo, our usual atarodo, garden egg or eggplant, sweet potato, things that are easy to plant. Even groundnut, you can export groundnut. But in this system, they don't buy in bulk. They are not buying bulky, as in, okay, we want plenty or we want bulky. No, they are not buying bulky. They buy in batch. So you need group of people to work with you. As in, when you get there, you get the information, you get the things they want to export, you get the quality they want, you even get the seed sellers. The people that will sell the seed are present there at the conference. So you get this recommended seed, you get everything you need. Then you come back to Nigeria, come back to your country and create a group of farmers. Now in your group, somebody will be specialized, will be planting groundnuts, somebody will be planting eggplant, somebody will be planting sweet potato, somebody will be planting bell pepper, somebody, you can have 5 produce or even more. Green peas. Do you know the funny thing? All these things are not highly perishable crops. All these produce I just mentioned are not something that, okay, if you finish them today, no, they are not highly perishable. So that's why they could export them. So if you have these groups, if you have this produce and you work in group, as in each group, like if you have 20 farmers in a group, 4 of the farmers are planting different produce that you can take outside the country. So as they are planting the produce, you put them, you sort them out and put them in cartons. There's a perforated carton. There's a way we perforate cartons and we get them out. So you put them in the cartons and they are exported out as a collective group. Already everyone is aware of the price and everything. So they export to Europe. You can export to USA. And it goes by flight. This is not a shipment now. It goes by flight. But you see, the pay for the fresh vegetables justify the cost of transport or the cost of moving those things. So you will be fine. So what I'm saying in essence is that, you see, we still come back to the issue of cluster group of exporting again. And for fresh vegetables, like all these vegetables I mentioned, they are short-term vegetable. Short-term vegetable is that they grow in 3 months. For instance, your sweet potato is 4 months. Your sweet potato is 4 months. Your habanero pepper is 3 to 4 months. Your bell pepper is 3 to 4 months. They are short-term crop. But what it needs, this is the best method of exporting. What it needs is you need dedicated partners that will produce especially the same crop all year round. All year round means, okay, if I'm specializing, okay, I choose habanero. I want to be planting rodo. Habanero is rodo. It could be yellow, it could be red, it could be green. Yes, you export it. So if you choose to export rodo, it means maybe 3 people in the groups are dedicated to exporting rodo, are dedicated to producing rodo. Because see, the most challenging thing is that most people want to export from Nigeria, but they don't want to produce. Like the first time of export that I mentioned, you can't export that without producing. You can go to the market and buy egusi. You can go to the market and buy dry fish. You understand? Because your market is not a standard market to some extent. You are selling to individuals. You are the one that went to network to look for the people that are from Nigeria or that are from Africans that want your specific food. So you don't really need to produce for the first type of export. But for the second type of export, you will need to be involved in the production method. It means the people that will be in the cluster will need to have irrigation system. It means the people that be in the cluster will have to follow a set standard. If you agree that, okay, 3 people will be the one producing, if you agree that, okay, 3 people will be the one producing for producing habanero, the 3 people will have a scheduled time that they produce, and they will have the quantity they produce all the time that will be able to go to the market. You know what I mean? So you really need to be in this. So they are different. You need to understand the different method and the different time. Like I said, there are a lot of exports and since they are short-term crop, and as Fruit Logistica, Fruit Logistica did not hold this year and last year because of COVID, but I think they are working of it will be out next year. So in your group, if you have a group like that, you can contribute, or you can send some people, let them go and get, some people can volunteer or can contribute, let them go and get the customer, let them go and get the seed, let them, you get the customer, you get the seed, you get everything you need, and they will tell you the qualifications, the quality they want, the Global Gap certification, or whatever they want for the produce that they are taking from you. Because these apps, you don't need, see, this morning somebody was on my timeline that they have 1,000 hectares of cassava, and we're discussing it on the farm, and I said, how could you plant 1,000 hectares of cassava without a target market? I remembered I planted ShopRite asked us to plant cabbage, and I planted just small, and when I called them and said the cabbage are ready, and they said no, they don't want again, that we should sell it somewhere else. I was really mad, very mad, because I wouldn't have planted cabbage. I was calm a bit because, well, it's not much, I didn't plant plenty. So what I'm saying is that we start from the market, and our market is going to be starting from our market research start from the buyers. You need to have a buyers, and like I told you, in Europe, you wonder why we talk much about export. I'll explain to you. In Europe, they have winter, they have all this period that they cannot plant, that there will be snow, that there will be all these things that they cannot plant. In Africa, we are blessed with good climate, so we can afford to plant almost all year round. We can afford to plant almost all year round. We have the land, we have the good weather, the good climate, if not now, which we are working to suppress it, and we can plant all year round. And because we can plant all year round, it makes our food highly demanded. I remember a group I am, Food Bridge. Madam Maureen is trying for us Nigerian farmers to be able to key into that market of being able to supply outside, to produce and supply outside the country. But like the foremost thing is, one, you need to be sure of your pesticide use. Our pesticide, like the produce I'm telling you, the cluster group that are exporting, they are conscious of the pesticide, the quantity of pesticide that they are using. 1, 2, the seed variety they use. You notice something, I've been saying it, I've been shouting. In Nigeria now, you find out that you buy seed, you plant the seed did not survive, the seed did not germinate. So if a group needs to work, they need to work and be sure and get to the seed producers to be able to tell them, look, this is what we need and this is what we want to use for our farm. So if you can get the right seed for us and we can use it to the right quality seed, that's why I said for a group to start the cluster exports, especially for fresh vegetable, you need to get to Fruit Logistica, get their buyers. There are plenty buyers there. I've introduced so many people to that place. Get buyers there. Then you walk it back to the house. Okay, you get the seed seller. You tell them, this is our weather, this is our climate, this is our temperature, this is what we want. So they will want you to keep coming back to buy seed for the production. So they will give you a good quality seed. I understand most Nigerians go outside the country and buy the inferior things because they are extremely cheap or extremely affordable. So that is what they always get for us. But if the farmers themselves need to take up the responsibility that by themselves, and like I said, it's not only, even if you come together as a cluster like this, it's not only by exporting alone. The market in Nigeria is huge. The challenge we always have that we are not able to, that farmers always have challenges because the challenge we always have is because, okay, see, we produce all at the same time because everybody is using rainfall. By the time we produce all at the same time and the harvest is always all at the same time and there's no preservation for the harvest, as in the harvest is not being preserved. So you find out in my community, in the last 3 weeks, tomato basket, though it's a small basket, was selling for 200 naira, 150 naira, 300 naira. But now, as I'm speaking with you, as I'm chatting with you here, because the tomatoes are no more, everybody have rushed it to the market. No preservation, they cannot dry, they cannot export, they cannot store, no cooling system. Because of that, the tomatoes were selling for 200 naira, 150, and the farmers has no choice than to sell. Then, just as I'm speaking right now, there's no tomatoes again. The tomatoes are now 1,500 for the same basket because it's not available here. Now, if I keep waiting for government to come and assist, you are going to wait for a very, very long time. You are going to wait for a very, very long time. So the suggestion I will bring is, okay, there are farmers. Why don't you work together? Why don't you come together and say, okay, guys, let me give you an instance. If you want to set up a cooling system, a central cooling, if you want to stop a central system somewhere, it means every farmer that wants to participate might need to contribute, even if it is 100,000 or 50,000, and run a cooling system, a cool bot. If you go online, I always mention her name. There's a link here, Millicent, or you Google Total Herbs on Facebook, or check my friends list. You see her there. She grows herbs. She grows basil. She grows flowers, you know what I mean, and she exports to Europe. She works with other farmers too. They transplant basil, all these other things, and she exports. She has a cooling bot. She kept a cool bot where when they harvest, they kept it there, and every week she exports nothing less than 100. She exports letting us than 100, less than 100 cartons of fresh vegetables. So I wonder why we cannot come together and set up something of that nature. So there are farmers. I'm speaking out with you this morning, and most especially with those that are watching me right here. We need to work together. We need to work together. By coming week or upper week, I will be in Lagos for a program. I think it's tagged a symposium with somebody is organizing it, a team, somebody, they are organizing it, and I will be in Lagos for a 2 days program. Now, the essence of the program is to see how we can coordinate, to see face to face, coordinate individuals that will participate, and see how we can arrange these things. See, we can't keep waiting for the government. Opportunities are passing us by. Let me give you one instance. Today, I think $1 is $5.15, $5.20. Meanwhile, if we buy. It means if we can produce something, fresh vegetables or all these ones that are not highly perishable, and we export them, it means we can readily earn those dollars for our produce. And then it's a big deal for farmers. Honestly, it's a big deal. So instead of our produce wasting, but the first step that we need to take, let me be candid with you, the first step that every one of us need to take is, one, we need to first find a cooling system. We need to first set up a storage system. I started something about 2 months ago. We contributed, some of us, but we are halfway through, and we'll be looking for insulation panels to set the place through. We appreciate every other person that may want to join or participate with us again to contribute. Actually, there's a WhatsApp group, but I don't want the WhatsApp group again because most of the people, the financial WhatsApp group, fine, I can add people, but the other group, people are just there posting rubbish, and I've been removing a lot of people. Yes, that is me. Because the intention is, if the storage facility, we already got a place in Lagos, but we need to put the insulation panels there and everything to fully complete it. If the place is fully set up, it means when you harvest your vegetables, put it, just send it to the store. It stays there. We start distributing, one, and two, we can collect from there for export. We can work on it. I remember Kole CP is always coming to Nigeria or sending me programs and trainings for us to collect farmers that will export fresh vegetables and every other thing. And then it has to be farmers that follow the right standard, farmers that follow the good agricultural practice. And this is where tag come in. This is where traceability come in. When we talk of traceability, you know, unlike Nigeria, where everybody brings anything to market and everybody in the market just eat anything, when they get anything abroad, they don't just eat anything or whatever. They want to know the source of where it's coming from. So like the group, like I said, we are going to start a physical group by coming week or Hopper Week in Lagos. And for everyone that will be participating with us, we are going to start with the cooling system first. We are going to start with the product. From the cooling system, we want to know what you can produce. If we have 10 farmers, we want to segment into, okay, 2 of you specialize in okra, 2 of you specialize in rodo, 2 of you specialize on cucumber, 2 of you specialize on sweet corn. With this, you know, it won't be that, okay, everybody plants cucumber all at the same time and then we flood the market. Everybody, have you ever wondered? See, you go to the market, you want to buy the pesticide for your farm. The price is standard price. Go to any other person selling pesticide, the price is standard price. But you go to the farmer, go to the market to buy vegetables, they start giving you different prices because they offer farmers different prices. We buy expensively, yet we sell so low. Why should that be? Nigeria is the only place that farmers are getting poor and poor every day. We need to stop. We need to start from somewhere. I know it's not going to be an easy step, but somebody needs to pick it up. People need to do it up. So if you are joining me, we can do that together. We can pull that together. From the domestic, then we can go into export. Like I told you, the other third method, so that I will mention it, the other third method of export, I've mentioned the first one, which is individual. I've mentioned the second one, which is cluster for fresh vegetables farmer. The other method of export is the standard one for dried produce. This is where the ginger, the dried chili pepper, the dried everything comes in. Now, on that basis, you know, I said there are 3 methods when I started, so I'm not forgetting to mention the 3 completely. Now, when you talk of the other method, the third method, they require your production in large volumes. This is where we are talking of 40 tons to trailer container. This is where we are, so here too, you also need cluster. But in this one, this is different. This is now a dried produce, as in after harvesting, you decide to dry the produce. You can look at, like cassava, let me be candid. Everybody will be shouting, cassava, currently cassava price is high. But the time is coming when the price will go so low. Now what happened is that, when the cassava goes so low, when the cassava price goes so low, you know, in other countries, they are exporting cassava chips. They are exporting cassava chips. They are exporting cassava chips. They're exporting cassava chips. They're exporting a lot of things. But in Nigeria, we can only use the cassava for fresh or for anything, and that is why the price usually go extremely low when the time comes. But if you have a way, or we have a way to work together, like the standard one, you need to have a Global Gap certification result for your ginger. You need to have a Global Gap certification result for your cassava chips, for the ginger pepper, for everything. And in that case, it's true by shipment, not by flight. It's by shipment, as in, you know, they are dried and they are in volume, so they go by ship. In the standard, that is largest, highest standard form of export. They are standard and they go by ship. In that place, you need large volume of farmers, and a farmer can have like 10 acres, 10 hectares to be able to produce for that market. But you still need cluster in order to work together. But like I said, the second method, you don't need large volume. No, you don't need large volume. The second method of export you don't need, and it's fresh vegetables. I hope you can differentiate between the two now. There are now 3 different types of method of export that I've briefly explained here. Now, like I said, you see, when you have a friend that has when you go to your when you want to assist somebody, you need to be, they say charity begins at home. So we should begin our charity from home. Beginning our charity from home means, 1, what is the first step for us to take? If you are joining the second method of cluster, fresh vegetable, like I told you, okra, groundnuts, pepper, sweet potato. Do you know funny thing? These things are easy to grow. Do you know if you grow okra, you have okra that matured in 40 days. 40 good days. Those are the things they export. As in, you plant it today, and in the next 40 days, you are already harvesting. That is the thing they export. Groundnut groundnut is 2 months. Imagine. And you know the funny thing, these things are easy to grow. They are easy to grow than the tomatoes that all of us are struggling to grow all the time. Groundnut is easy to grow. Groundnut is easy to grow. Okra is one of the easiest crops you can ever grow. Garden egg or eggplant, the white one, they are the easiest. You can Google, if you have your network there, Google KK Fresh Export so that you can read more about what I'm saying. KK Fresh Export is an international company in Uganda. Is a group of farmers, is a company in Uganda that work with group of farmers to be able network will soon go off here. They are telling me my data is low. Let me move to another network. So it's a group of exports in Uganda. It's a group of exports in Uganda where I need MTN network. It's a group of exports in Uganda where farmers, as in, they collectively plant. They are on their different farms. It's not that they farm together. No, you're on your farm, you are growing groundnut. I'm on my farm, I'm growing tomato. No, there's no tomato. Tomato is highly perishable. Groundnut, sweet potato. Do you know I was telling you too? Sweet potato is an very easy crop to grow. Sorry, I'm moving around. The network is giving me an issue, so I have to move around. I'm on the farm. I can't stay at home this afternoon. So, okay. I told you I have to move around, or else the network is a bit bad. So I'm trying to find network. Okay, so you find out all this is, you don't have to come to my farm. The funny thing about all this thing, because like I said, they are not highly perishable. So you don't need to come to my area. I'm going to where our You don't need to come to my area, or I don't need to move to your area before we can start planting. My entrepreneur youth refused to give me network this morning on the farm. That's why I'm using Plenty Network. So you don't need to come to my area, or I don't need to move to your area before we can farm. You can stay wherever you are. You grow your crops. We have an arrangement. You send it down to where we'll be collecting it, and and there we collate it. So what I'm saying is essence is that there's a lot we can do together as a group. Like I used to say during some of my classes, people that have attended my classes, I said, look, we are all looking for money. We are all farmers, but we have the least. Okay, let me put it this way: you go to the market, you want to buy fertilizer. Is 10,000, 8,000 naira. You go to every other places, these prices are similar. The prices are the same. But meanwhile, you want to buy pesticide. You buy a container. It's the same price everywhere. Nobody, that's the way you have it everywhere. But meanwhile, when you now come to the farm, when you now take you produce expensively with those materials, and now when it's now come to you going to the market to sell, at this period, if you get to the market, me, you, 1, 2, 3, 4 of us, we've gone to plant vegetables, cucumber, and when we planted the cucumber, we now flush the market. Even if we flush the market, assuming there's storage facility, we can readily take some of our produce into the storage, into the cooling system, and then we sell off from there in bits. But now, at a point in the market, you went to the market with your cucumber. They are selling a bag 10,000 naira. At some point, you go to the market, they are selling a bag 2,000 naira. Can you see the difference? Why is there such a huge difference in what you are selling? Why? I don't know. You can see from my back here, you can see the raised bed somehow on my back here. This are the raised bed that the boys just did, that we want to put cucumber anyway. And then if I turn the other way, you will see the groundnut. You see the groundnut on the other way here. You see the groundnut raised bed, kind of, as in the groundnut. You can see the groundnut closely planted, unlike the scattered one that the farmer used to plant. That's just a distraction. Let me go back to class. Okay, so what I was saying is that now you go to the market, you sell the same cucumber that you are selling 2,000, just like I was telling you here now. I said tomato, just like I was telling you here now. I said, imagine tomatoes. You bought at some week ago, they were selling tomato in my place for 200 naira. 200 naira, you can imagine. You keep wondering, imagine how much must the farmers have spent to be spending 200 naira on tomatoes. And then out of that 200 naira, the transporter that moved the tomatoes to the market. Now that 200 naira tomato is a 10 kg, is an 8 kg tomato basket that they are selling for 200 naira. Now that same tomatoes right now as I speak is 1,500. Why is that so? It will have been appropriate if the same tomato has an average price all year round of 800 or 700 naira. At least the farmer will be able to calculate and say, okay, if I plant this so amount and I get this seed, this is what I'm expecting. But in Nigeria, it is only the farmer that cannot really calculate how much he is going to make from the farm. If somebody if a seed seller went to buy seed, and he bought seed of 1 million, he already know this is how much I'm going to sell this seed. This is how much I'm going to make from selling this seed. This is how much I'm going to make from committing my money into this seed buying. But a farmer cannot do that kind of calculation as of today's Nigeria. You know why? Because you know how much you are going to buy all those things from the market. You buy the seed, you know how much you are buying the seed. You know how much you are buying the water. You know how much you are buying the rope. You know how much you are buying. A farmer knows how much they are buying everything on the farm. But the last end price, a farmer in Nigeria do not know how much is going to sell his farm produce. Okay, a farmer cannot dictate. A farmer in Nigeria cannot say, okay, when I finish planting, if I can get this quality, this is how much I'm going to get from the market. Because